गोर्खाहरूको इतिहासमा के कस्तो घटनाहरू घट्यो भन्ने कुरालाई डिक्लेयर गर्ने कुरा। जस्तो अब हामीलाई विभिन्न मान्छेहरूलाई विभिन्न कुरा लागेको हुन सक्छ। मलाई एउटा लागेको हुन सक्छ, मैले एउटा कुरा देखेको हुन सक्छ, अर्कोले अर्को लागेको हुन सक्छ। त यहाँले आफ्नो जीवनमा भोगेको कुराहरू आफ्नो हुन सक्छ। हामीले हाम्रो बुझाइ फरक फरक हुन सक्छ। तर यसले के कुरा डिक्लेयर गरिदिन्छ भने हामी सबैले यो इतिहासलाई, यो घटनाक्रमलाई यसरी देखेको छौँ, त्यसले गर्दा यो कुरामा हामी यस्तो भएको कुरामा हामी विश्वस्त छौँ भनेर पहिलो घोषणा हामी त्यो गर्छौँ। डिक्लेरेसन त्यो घोषणा गर्छ। पहिलो कुरा यो पहिलो सिद्धान्त हो कि के भइरहेको छ, के भयो, के भइरहेको छ र के हुनेवाला छ। यो कुरो डिक्लेरेसनले पहिलो कुरा घोषणा गर्छ, त्यो हामी गर्छौँ। र दोस्रो सिद्धान्त भनेको त्यसो भने अब हामी के गर्छौँ त, कता जान्छौँ, हामी के गर्ने कोसिस गर्छौँ भन्ने जुन हामी सङ्कल्प गर्छौँ त्यो कुरा हामी भन्छौँ। यो दोस्रो सिद्धान्त। र तेस्रो सिद्धान्त भनेको चाहिँ यसको आधिकारिकता के हो, यो घोषणाको आधिकारिकता के हो भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ ज्यादै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ। र पहिलो सिद्धान्तको आधारमा हामीले यतिका बेर छलफल गरिसकेका छौँ, हामीले इतिहास पढिसकेका छौँ, हामीले पुस्तक विमोचन गरिसकेका छौँ, यति धेरै छलफल गरिसकेका छौँ र यो बारेमा हामीले एउटा निष्कर्षमा पुग्ने स्थिति आइसकेको छ। दोस्रो प्रिन्सिपल भनेको हामी के गर्छौँ भन्ने बारेमा यतिका धेरै हामीले छलफल गरिसकेका छौँ। र सबैभन्दा महत्त्वपूर्ण कुराहरू चाहिँ कि यसको आधिकारिकता के हो, किन यो डिक्लेरेसनलाई मान्नुपर्ने भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ हामी सबैको यो 2 दिनको कमिटमेन्ट हो। हामी मात्रै होइन, यहाँनिर भूतपूर्व प्रधानमन्त्रीहरू आउनुभयो, भूतपूर्व मन्त्रीहरू आउनुभयो, वरिष्ठ ओहदामा रहेर मुलुकलाई, राज्यलाई कन्ट्रिब्युसन गर्नुभएका व्यक्तित्वहरू आउनुभएको छ यहाँ। र त्यस्तै गरेर चाहिँ विद्वान प्रोफेसनलहरू यहाँ आउनुभएको छ, एक्सपर्टहरू आउनुभएको छ र सबैले यो कुरा हो है भन्ने बारेमा जो यसका चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म पीडित भएका हामी गोर्खास र गोर्खासका सन्तानहरू छौँ उहाँहरूलाई यो कुरा हो भन्ने कुरा हामी त्यसमा एकमत भएको छौँ। र यो सिम्पोसियम जुन राष्ट्रिय सिम्पोसियम, एउटा नेसनल सिम्पोसियम हामीले गरेका छौँ, यसको सफलता नै यसको आधिकारिकता हो र यो आधिकारिकतालाई भोलि कसैले पनि चुनौती दिन सक्दैन भन्ने कुरा यहाँ गर्दै म यो रिजोल्युसनलाई अलिकति मलाई अप्ठ्यारो पनि लागिरहेको छ। हुनु त यसको ओरिजिनल भर्सन नेपालीमा ड्राफ्ट गरिएको हो, अब तर जोसँग हामी पैँठेजोरी खेल्दैछौँ, लड्दैछौँ, उसले नेपाली भाषा नबुझ्ने हुनाले अब हामीले पनि उसले नै बुझ्ने भाषामा यहाँ यहाँ हामीले छलफल गर्नुपर्ने, अध्ययन गर्नुपर्ने र यसलाई डिक्लेयर गर्नुपर्ने अवस्था बनेको छ। यसको अलिकति अब रिजोल्युसन हामीले लागेको जति सबै कुरा रिजोल्युसनमा हुँदैन, डिक्लेरेसनमा हुँदैन। यसका आफ्नै तरिकाहरू छन्, कयौँ यसका टेक्निकल पक्षहरू पनि छन् र त्यो कुराहरू समेतलाई ध्यान दिँदै यहाँ समक्ष रिजोल्युसनलाई अङ्ग्रेजीमा प्रस्तावको रूपमा म राख्न चाहन्छु र यहाँ सबैले यसलाई राम्ररी सुनेर यसमा सहमत वा असहमत थप्नुपर्ने अथवा घटाउनु पर्ने अथवा यसमा केही कुरा राख्नुपर्ने या यति नै ठिक छ भन्ने बारेमा आफ्नो मान्यता बनाउनु होला। त्यस पछाडि छलफल गर्नुको यहाँलाई हुने नै छ। यति कुराहरू भन्दै म यो रिजोल्युसन पढ्ने अनुमति चाहन्छु। कुनै बिचमा काहीँ कसैले केही कुरा बुझ्नुपर्ने भयो, फर्दर क्ल्यारिफिकेसन हामीलाई चाहियो भने पनि यहाँले हात उठाएर पनि यो के हो भनेर भन्न सक्नुहुन्छ। यसमा अन्यथा नठान्नु होला। र म यसलाई अगाडि बढाउन चाहन्छु। ड्राफ्ट रिजोल्युसन रिकलिङ द 205 years long history of Nepali youth's involvement in British Army in the name of Brigade of Gurkhas that began in the form of war prisoners band in 1815 and subsequently transferred into Gurkha Regiment, a private army of East India Company that became instrumental to mobilize Nepali youths to suppress the 1857 Indian Mutiny and to fight the First and Second World War. And through the tripartite agreement, the British Brigade of Gurkhas was established in 1947. Honoring the century-old historical movement for justice initiated by British Gurkhas ex-servicemen who, in the wake of First World War, established the Gurkha League to fight against the discriminatory behavior of British government as well as against the Rana regime for the attitude of exporting own citizens. considering that International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, CERT, has declared that all human beings are equal before the law and are entitled to equal protection of law against the discrimination and against any incitement to the discrimination. Considering that discrimination and unequal treatment of Nepali youths in compared to their counterpart British citizens is unfair judgment of the contribution they have made and inhuman treatment in return to the loyal and disciplined service and sacrifice of life in the interest of British government throughout the 205 years long history and of Brigade of Gorkhas. Expressing a deep respect toward the sacrifice made by about 200,000 Gorkha soldiers who lost their life during the World War I, 1914 to 1919, and World War II, 1939 to 1945, and realizing the innermost role of Gorkha Brigade, even fighting war under an imperialist flag to establish existing world order, which has been grounded on the principle of justice, peace, and human rights as set forth in the Charter of the United Nations. 1. The National Symposium on Human Rights Movement for Equality and Dignity of Ex-British Gorkhas, a conference organized jointly by British Gorkha community and Nepali civil society in Kathmandu on the day of 4th and 5th of November 2019 resolved the following resolution, which in its integrated form and entirety shall be considered as Kathmandu Declaration, and main objective of Kathmandu Declaration shall be to uphold the equality and dignity of the Nepali citizens who have served and still serving in British Army. 2. Expressing a heartfelt gratitude and deep respect to the Gorkha League and also to those ex-servicemen, lawyers, professors, writers, journalists, political leaders, and parliamentary committee who tirelessly contributed and supported after the year of 1990 to establish and continue this movement. This referendum, this conference declared that 1. The imposition of Indian pay code on British Gorkha after the year of 1948, which came in the name of Tripartite Agreement 1947, but with mutual understanding between India and Britain, was absolutely unfair, was against the sovereignty and independence of Nepal, was incompatible to the international law, and was contrary to the Montevideo Treaty 1933 that defines the relation among the states, and was also against the Article 2 of United Nations Charter, and for that reason violates the principle of international human rights law. Second, despite the British government's written commitment in front of Rana Prime Minister Padma Shamsher, which was also integrated into the Tripartite Agreement in 1947, a place that ensured that the British Gorkha enjoy the equal right in respect of using all facilities and upgrading rank in Brigade of Gorkhas if the resolution is not detrimental to the national interests of Nepal, and that they will not be treated as mercenaries. It is a matter of tremendous regret to witness the fact that thousands of Gorkha ex-servicemen have been victimized by hardship and destitution as a result of discrimination and unjust treatment continuously perpetrated by British government from 1948 to 1997. And struggle for equality and dignity spearheaded by ex-Gorkhas against discriminatory and unfair behavior that may be recorded as a tainted history of human rights shall be advanced in national as well as in international level in the form of patriotic movement and a campaign dedicated to human rights and dignity of Nepali citizens who serve and are serving in British Army. Third, with the support and grace of civil society, academics, youth students, and entire Nepali citizens, this conference expresses its commitment to step up the following strategic action plans under the leadership of ex-Gurkha Satyagraha Committee. That a prompt dialogue between the government of Nepal and the British government over the report of technical committee that comprises the ambassador of Nepal to UK, Minister of Defence UK, and representative of British Gurkha Servicemen's Association, which was established to address the concern raised by British Gurkha ex-servicemen, has to be started. Dialogue to be started. For this purpose, the government of Nepal shall be requested to recognize the report introduced on 15th of March 2019 by International Relations Committee of Federal Parliament of Nepal as a guiding principle. 3.2. For the purpose of providing all-out assistance to the dialogue proposed in clause 3.1 above, the government of Nepal may be requested to establish a task force with additional responsibility of engaging in research and investigation to empower the argument from the side of Brigade of Gurkhas, a British Gurkha ex-serviceman. 3.3. In order to form the task force as proposed in clause 3.2, request may be made to appoint one of the member of International Relations Committee of Federal Parliament as a coordinator and a representative of legal professionals who has gained expertise through continued engagement in research about the issue of Gurkha servicemen, representative of civil society, and representative of ex-servicemen community is a member. 3.4. If despite all these efforts, the British government still failed to show any interest and appeared to be reluctant, the movement against the discrimination and injustice over Gurkhas ex-servicemen shall be developed as an international human rights campaign. For the purpose of making such movement successful, the ex-servicemen committee may establish an international human rights campaign coordination committee for the justice to ex-Gurkha servicemen. 3.5. The committee which may be established is for the clause 3. यो अलिकति यहाँ मिस्टेक भएको छ, यसलाई अलिकति टाइपिङ एरर भएको छ. 3.4 shall build up an international campaign with following prospect in mind. हामीले इन्टरनेशनल क्याम्पेनलाई कसरी अगाडि बढाउँछौं भन्ने बारेमा यो लाइनहरु लेखिएको छ. By following the process of universal periodic report, it may draw the attention of Human Rights Council toward the injustice and discrimination experienced by Gurkha ex-servicemen and their families. यो बारेमा छलफल भएको छ. 3.5.2 may conduct, माथि बढे हो, it may conduct a special study and make adequate preparation for the utilization of the ILO mechanism as well. Dr. Sangrawalale यो बारेमा भन्नु भएको छ. May prepare for utilizing other human rights instrument that may include but not limited to the jurisdiction of third committee and human rights committee, which is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Sangha Committee, the International Convention on elimination of all form of racial discrimination भन्ने जुन सन्धिहरु छ जहाँ बेलायत र नेपाल दुईटै पार्टीहरु छन्, त्यसका त्यसलाई एप्लाई गर्ने जुन संयन्त्र छ त्यसलाई पनि त्यसलाई सम युटिलाइज गर्ने भन्ने हाम्रो चाहिँ resolution. 3.5.4 time may demand that the jurisdiction of International Court of Justice have to be utilized. 4. In respect of those soldiers who had lost their life, injured, disappeared, or made redundant or dismissed from service as a result of unfair prosecution during and after the First and Second World War and also other subsequent wars. This conference placed the following demand to the government of Nepal. In order to compensate the family of those soldiers who had lost their life during the wars, the government of Nepal must start dialogue with the British government. 4.2. In order to provide an appropriate compensation for those after the war in Malaya that was concluded in 1967 to 1969 was made redundant and sent to home barefoot, the government of Nepal must start dialogue with the British government. In order to provide pension and other compensation to those soldiers who were, as a consequence of Hawaii Scandal 1986, prosecuted unfairly, deprived of their right to appeal, brought back to Nepal and simply removed from the service, the government of Nepal must be equipped with the fact and evidence and initiate a dialogue with the British government. And 4.4. In order to make the dialogue mentioned in the previous clauses effective and substantive, make effective and substantiate them with the fact and data, constitute a specialized task force, and the coordination of the task force under the coordination of member of International Relations Committee of Federal Parliament, and also to constitute a research and study committee comprising expert and representative of Gorkha ex-servicemen. Declaration 5. This conference demands to the British government that it's on the side of British government, all types of discrimination and injustice imposed on Gorkha ex-servicemen and on their families be addressed. 5.2. The compensation demanded by families of thousands of soldiers who had lost their life in the past wars be paid. 6. This conference further demand to the government of Nepal that put an end the system under which the pension fund of British Gorkhas ex-servicemen is sent in sterling pound to Reserve Bank of India and subsequently transferring the exchanged Indian currency to Nepal Rashtra Bank. And second, introduce a system under which the sterling pound will directly be transferred from the UK bank to the Rashtra Bank of Nepal. 7. With respect to the injustice perpetrated against ex-servicemen serving in the Gorkha Reserve Unit Brunei and against the Nepali national serving as a police personnel in a Singapore police force, this conference declared that there has been massive exploitation of this personnel by British government, ostensibly in the name of recruitment and management, and also declared that there is no justifiable ground and authority for the British government to play a role of middleman in the recruitment and manage Nepali citizen in GRU and Singapore police. Therefore, this conference further demand to the government of Nepal that 7.1. Initiate a prompt dialogue with the respective government of Brunei and Singapore so that the entire payment entitled by personnel serving in GRU and Singapore police shall be paid properly. Bring the practice of giving middlemen and managerial role of British government on the recruitment and management of Nepali nationals in GRU and Singapore police to an end. And take an initiative to make a bilateral agreement with the government of Brunei and government of Singapore to continue and for the recruitment of Nepali citizens in GRU and Singapore police. 8. Therefore, this conference appeals the Gorkha Satyagraha United Struggle Committee to do necessary homework and proper coordination to implement the resolution resolved thereby. 9. It's more about appreciation and acknowledgement. This conference expresses its heartfelt gratitude to Professor Dr. Yubra Samrola, Professor Hong Kong Rana, Senior Advocate Vishwakanta Mainali, Parliamentary Hiranyalal Shrestha, Learned late Rishikesh Shah, Dr. Harka Bahadur Gurung, Professor Dr. Pom Gurung, ex-parliamentary member C.P. Mainali, ex-minister Jai Prakash Gupta, parliamentarian Pari Thapa, learned right activist and parliamentary Padma Ratna Tuladar, journalist Avades Yadav, advocate Nani Babu Dahal, learned Mary Des Chen, for continuously contributing and playing an active role for the advancement of Gurkha movement after 1993. This conference extends our sincere thanks to Padam Bahadur Gurung, the ex-president of GESO, and members Ram Jindaji Gurung and Dr. Chandra Bahadur Gurung for the enormous role they have played during the movement. And also honor the ex-serviceman Warren Officer Gyanraj Rai, who became able to disclose the injustice perpetrated against Gurkha soldiers in front of British commoners through a life-threatening pass on to death, a hunger strike that lasted for 15 days in London in 2013. This conference expresses its gratitude to Professor Dr. Kumar Ingnam, Dr. Kumar Acharya, Professor Dr. Ganesh Gurung, senior यहाँ चाहिँ कयौं कुराहरु अलिकति मिलाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ नामहरुको बारेमा यहाँहरुले पछि पनि सुझाव अपडेट्स पनि सुझाव यहाँ दिन सक्नुहुनेछ गुरुङ एडभोकेट कपिल ढकाल फर देयर वर्किङ पेपर्स कतिको यहाँ छुटेको हुन सक्छ यसमा चाहिँ माफ गर्नु होला पछि हामी यसलाई मिलाउने छौं फर देयर वर्किङ पेपर्स and to the commentators, senior advocate Dr. Chandrakant Gyawali, I think he is not in, Dr. Krishna Hari Adhikari for their invaluable comments. To the chairs of the sessions, senior advocate Sunil Pokhrel, NB Vice Chair Raksha Basal, ex-AIGP Raviraj Thapa, Assistant Professor Gaurav Kesi, and also to reporter Major Jut Bahadur Gurung for their joint contribution to make this conference successful. Also, in the logistic part, this conference is appreciation to Advocate Raksha Giri and other students. यहाँ पनि स्टुडेन्टको नाम पनि छुटेको हुनुहुन्छ अलि मिलाउनु छ. Just let me read it out. Students Sunita Gurung, Sudip Ghimire, Ria Bhatrai, Arun Tamang, Manju Vishwakarma, and Vansa Kharil. Also maybe all students पनि यहाँ छुटेको हुन सक्छ. Finally, यहाँ पनि अलिकति मिलाउनु पर्ने छ. This conference expresses its sincere gratitude to the former Prime Minister Mr. Madhav Kumar Nepal and former Prime Ministers Mr. Madhav Kumar Nepal and Mr. Jalnath Khanal, Chair of former Council of Ministers Mr. Khilraj Regmi, former Minister of Foreign Affairs Mr. Prakash Saran Mahat, Mr. Navraj Subedi, representative of Nepal Samajwadi Party, for inaugural speeches they delivered, and to Dr. Saratwanta, Chair of Nepal Medical Association for Public Accountability, to Engineer Nanda Lal Banjade, the Chair of Nepal Engineers Association State 3, to Jayanti Rai, ex-parliamentary member, and to Dilman Pakin, former State Minister for Justice, is a solidarity message extended by them to the success of this conference. 10. This English language version of Kathmandu Declaration has to be considered as adopted based on the expanded version of declaration in Nepali language, and for the time being has to be read in commensurate to that version. अब यहाँ यो चाहिँ अहिले इंग्लिश भर्सनमा जुन आएको छ नेपाली भर्सन कै बेसमा हामीले यो बनाएका छौं र यसमा नबिजेका कुराहरु त्यो एक्सटेन्डेड भर्सनमा नेपालीमा डिटेलमा छ त्यो यहाँले अध्ययन गरिसकेपछि यहाँलाई यो बारेमा क्लियर हुनेछ भन्ने कुरा यहाँ गरिएको. And finally, this Kathmandu Declaration is adopted by the National Symposium on Human Rights Movement for Equality and Dignity of British Gurkhas, held in Kathmandu, Nepal, on the day of 4th and 5th of November 2019.